Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here with you on Wednesday, looking at 9 games in the association here. A couple teams on a back-to-back. We'll be monitoring that, Portland and Golden State, I believe, for tonight. So keep that in mind. But we're going to be looking at best bets, some sides and totals for you. Also got the player props in this episode as well. Going to be bringing this one episode to you with everything you need. So make sure to subscribe to that channel. Continue to follow along all season. Let's get right into what I think is going to be a good game, Nate, here between the Rockets and the Cavs. We got the Rockets -1.5 on the road because Darius Garland's out. Sam Merrill's questionable. So what are you looking at here for the Rockets?
I mean, I'll take the Rockets against anyone but OKC basically right now. Maybe
Yeah.
Denver. I mean, in a normal rest spot, they actually have a bit of a rest advantage here. Quite a sizable one where they've had 2 days off. The Cavs have played 7 games in 10 days before they get their 1 day off here, and they're banged up, as you mentioned. Yeah, no Max Strus as well, no Jalen Tyson. Those are important guys as far as just some size on the wing against this Rockets squad who maybe they don't have Jabari. We know Eason's out, but I still trust their depth in that department. I mean, they have Amen Thompson, which is going to be a problem when the Cleveland team, man, they are just not the same team this year. Not yet, at least. And a lot of that is because Garland hasn't been out there. They lost 3 in a row to Houston, and the last one, Garland went nuts, and they still lost. Mobley struggled a little bit to keep Mount Kiwi off the boards. He had 20 PR in 15 minutes. But really, the reason they've lost 3 straight is because Donovan Mitchell, 21 points a game on poor shooting, 36-29% splits. Hello, Amen Thompson, who had a triple-double in their last meeting. It was +10. And look, that's what I mean with Cleveland. They don't necessarily have the beautiful movement, except when they're playing bad teams that they can beat up on. When it's good teams, it's a lot of like Donnie Hero ball. I mean, they are 24th in the percentage of paints in the point, 3rd highest unassisted threes, and Houston's the number 3 ISO defense. Of course, they have Amen to stick on him. And then on the other side of the ball, KD has roasted the Cavs because they are an interior-based defense, and he's fine. Just pull up on them, right? 33 points a game on a 133 rating with Phoenix. And Şengün had his way with Mobley last season. So I think Cavs have advantage on both sides. I love backing an Ime Udoka squad, especially if they're like on the road against a contender, because I just think you're going to get their best effort.
Yep. I think the Cavs are frauds. So that's going to be where I'm at with them all season. I thought they were – look, Donovan Mitchell is an incredible one-on-one basketball player. I don't want him as my point guard. Like, I did not want him coming to the Knicks. And I know that I say that while Jalen Brunson is a guy with a super high usage. It's not the same thing. Jalen Brunson's not coming down, taking 35-foot pull-ups. Like, to me, the thing about Donovan Mitchell is leapers are going to leap. That's the key. If you're good at jumping, you need to jump. You just have to leap. And there's something about his game, even on offense, where he just has to jump so high in the air, wait there longer than everybody. And that like hurts everything because he's shooting jump shots from 30 feet away doing that. So I don't like watching it. It's too much of that. And maybe Garland coming back would help that. But yeah, everything else the Cavs want to do, the Rockets can sort of just lock up essentially. And I love the fact that Steven Adams should be getting another at least 20. And if Jabari doesn't play, I see that in the mid to high 20s as a starter for this team. He has a great oppo in Jared Allen that helps him stay on the floor. So yeah, the Rockets are awesome right now, man. And yeah, the only other 2 teams that I might like more than them is for sure OKC. And then I still think I have Denver a peg above them because one team has Nikola Jokic on it. So looking at the Bulls and the Blazers, the Bulls are -2.5. The total is at like 245, dude, because you're talking about the 2 of the fastest teams in the league. And I can't get there with it. I'm not going to do it. But I will take the Bulls in this spot. You got the Blazers on the back-to-back, and they're reeling a bit. I don't think we have a report yet on Drew. Yeah, we don't have the submitted report yet from the Blazers. Drew didn't play yesterday, was doubtful all day. I can't imagine he comes back with a massive impact, and that's a huge part of this. So if Drew comes back, like I do think you can then go ahead and maybe hit it again when it turns to maybe -1.5 for Portland, or how many points you think Drew is at home for the Blazers. But other than that, it's the Deni Avdija show, and everything that the Blazers were doing at the beginning of the season on offense to be able to justify playing as fast as they do, right? That's not really there right now with a couple injuries, including Drew Holiday right now. So like the guard play is non-existent for them because you have, like I said, Deni Avdija is the only one with double-digit potential assists, and then you're looking at Shaedon Sharpe and Jeremy Grant. both of them, there's no neutralizers on the floor like a Drew Holiday to just sort of like help stabilize the offense with those two dudes. And with Chicago, like Kobe White's out there. I think he's playing at least 25 in this one. They're getting healthier. The only guy there, they might be missing Trey Jones. That's not a problem to me when you have Kobe White coming back. So I still believe in the Bulls and what they're doing. They're still the exact same team they were when they were winning like 6 games in a row. A couple things didn't fall their way, and they had a couple injuries, but they're also getting healthier. So I like them a lot more in this one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of props to like here. So I mean, if you see a total that's 245 and you're like, I don't want to mess with that, but I do want to take some of the guys in that game, like you can just do Avdija to get 12 RA and Giddey to get 8 assists, and you're talking like plus 160 right there. And those guys, like you said, they're just gonna have the ball in their hands in an insane pace game. Likely with Drew Holiday out, you would definitely feel great about Giddey. Because they don't have that point of attack defender. Otherwise, you might be a little wary of a Giddey game and getting all Giddey over a triple double or whatever. Right. SGP here, and it's actually negative correlated. SGA does not score 31, which is his core prop, and OKC to win by at least 10. I considered other ways to play this as far as AJ Mitchell usually being the leg to score 12 plus points. If you add it to this, you're at plus 215, or if you just take AJ to get 12, you probably have to take a little bit higher of a spread. I don't know if we're really scared of a 14-point spread of 2 touchdowns. It's 18.5, I would say, at the moment. Will OKC win by 20? Probably, but I think this is a nice way to tease it down a little bit and say it's still going to be a blowout. SGA is probably not going to be playing in the fourth quarter. And at this stage in the season, like his usage rate has just declined steadily because he had to open the year on this insane run. You look at it in October, 34 points per game on a 35% usage. Since then, since we turned to November, 30 points per game, 32% usage. Obviously, he's just so efficient that we're talking 29 points in just 30 minutes per game. They've won 6 straight by double digits. So it does seem like a slim margin here, but there are multiple ways that this cashes as far as SGA just facilitates a little bit more. I mean, he's talked about how he wants to play the right way, how he wants OKC to be firing on all cylinders. And as they're getting guys back, he's going to be feeding them. So that's why I'm not doing PRA here. I mean, he could have a ton of assists along with his 30 points. But the last 3 at home, in particular with these blowouts, 18 field goal attempts. So the first matchup, he got to 31 against the Kings in a closer game, but that was on 26 field goal attempts. So really, I'm just looking at a slight downtick in usage, and the Kings just being such a soft opponent, basically, with no Sabonis tonight, I should mention, that I just don't think they'll be competitive enough for SGA to be out there in the fourth.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he scored 30 points in like 7 games that they've won that he hasn't played in the fourth quarter. I don't know what you do with that. Like, there's plenty of guys to play against the Kings. It's still only 30, not 31. But I mean, it's at least a fun way to like get a little bit of action on this game, because I don't really know how you mess with a 19-point spread, and like this Kings team is just waiting to just unload. I would imagine like Domas is so done with this season, so we'll see where the 19 points doesn't even really necessarily scare me because it's in OKC. But let's look at the Raptors and the Sixers game here. You mentioned, I believe, that you do think Raptors better than the Sixers right now, and yeah, the recent stats would definitely agree that like the Raptors have had a nice uptick in play over the last 7-8 games. They started a little bit rough. Not necessarily as rough as it seemed, honestly. They had a couple good wins, and then they had a couple like head scratching wins. But yeah, then in the last roughly 7 games, I think that's a good sample size for them. That's where they're 6-1 in their last 7. They're in the top 5 in net rating as well in that time. Their rebound percentage is a thing that might like concern you a bit about them, and so I do like some rebounding stuff. I mean, Drummond's going to be out of control. He's probably going to be like 12, 13 and a half boards at this point, coming off like an 18-point board affair. But Jakob Poeltl is not like really having any kind of dominant season. This is not his best one, let's put it that way. And really, like, all the problems that he has now in terms of his ability to protect the rim, because he's just continuously hobbled by the injury that he's had since last season. Now you're just, that's the only thing that really like concerns me. But I don't know who's really going at the rim for the Sixers other than Maxey. And you know that the Raptors are just going to overpressure the crap out of Maxey in this one. And so his points up at like 31 or 30 and a half. This is the first time where I'm like, I don't know if I like Maxey to score 30 in a game. Like maybe the first time all season, or maybe second or third, but really not very often. 30 is a nice bar for him. This is not that game for me. I mean, maybe you consider the dimes if you think that the guys off of him are going to be shooting well, because you will have like Grimes out there, you'll have Edgecombe, and then you're going to have like Watford. Do with that what you will, as the guys sort of the wings playing off of Maxey. That's not a strong shooting bunch right there, to be sure, right? Like Quentin Grimes, good shooter, frenetic key player, just still not the guy that I want as my like second or third option scorer, right? Especially against a team that's going to defend. They just, it's so obvious how they play. It's kind of like the Hawks in a way, where it's like they're just going to defend the crap out of the mid range. They're going to overpressure the ball because they have really, really good on ball defenders and really, really good athletes that can get to spot ups and still make up ground and stuff. So like they still don't give up much to spot ups, even though they overpressure the ball. Like I just like this spot for the Raptors, and they're starting to convince me. They still need a center before I'd be like, hey, maybe this team can compete in the East, but they're starting to convince me.
Yeah, I mean, the key here is Oubre and Paul George are not going to play, right? And against a team full of oversized wings, like how are you going to defend them, basically, right? I mean, they're going to be Edgecombe and Maxey just kind of getting swallowed up by size, it seems like, on one end, or just struggling to contain them going to the basket on the other end. I want to get your take on the Warriors Heat situation, because it's really going to like come down to the last minute here as far as like figuring out who's going to play, right? But Warriors now plus 6.5. Do you try to buy that and say, look, they're just playing games with the injury report? They were looking ahead in Orlando last night. That's why they didn't really give a great effort. Or do you say, like, I'm going to take the Heat, maybe money line parlay with one of these games?
The Heat, you have to like. So the only thing to be careful with is I don't expect Steph to play. Like I do think they went all out last night to beat the Magic. They've got a good history of Steph being able to do what he wants. Jimmy and him are both very good one-on-one players in a way, or at least guys that if they have space and there's no real help coming to them, then they're going to be really good. And they showed that. And I think they were trying to win that game. And now there's already news that Steph was like, I don't know if I'm playing tomorrow. So I don't know if there's really that much gamesmanship going on with the Dubs. I don't think they can afford it at this point. And so I don't know if it's as much of a look ahead as much as it was like, they were trying to win that game, seeing what was going to happen today. And today they just played after the game they played yesterday against the Magic. This isn't a good spot for them to be playing guys. That said, just be careful that like the guys coming in, I think the points are still going to be a good play actually to go over without those guys, because you're just going to get a whole bunch of Buddy Hield, Brandon Pajemski, Will Richards, and like Moses Moody, and just guys that like not the best defenders, but there's going to be plenty of offense that they're going to try to push because that's all they've got. So
yeah, that interior defense for the Dubs, man, is putrid right now.
To be Quentin Post, like.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we go back to Norman Powell.
That makes sense.
Or Andrew Wiggins, or just guys who are going to attack the basket.
Makes sense.
But speaking of bad interior defense in the player props, we are starting with Deni Avdija. And I like the 12.5 rebounds and assists. You can add points, and then you're at 38.5 PRA. Not a wild take here against the Bulls team that basically allows a red carpet to the rim. Yeah. But I just like these other stats more. You mentioned the potential assists are very high in the last 13 potentials, only 5.3 actual assists for Avdija. Also 13.3 rebound chances per game. And then you look at just the last game when Jrue Holiday didn't play, he threw 61 passes and 11 potential assists in just 29 minutes. Because they couldn't hang last night with the Phoenix Suns, who are freaking juggernaut, apparently. So they pulled the plug early, and now they get, Avdija on a little extra rest for this pace game. And that's going to be pretty key here. I mean, through sheer pace, the Bulls allowing the 4th most rebounds, 10th most assists in their last 7. They're going to be some tired legs for them. 3rd and 4 nights, they played OT. They used everything for an upset the next night at Denver at altitude. And now you got to play in Portland where those young boys are running up and down. So it's going to be an opportunity to just put up some stats. And that's what he's done against the Bulls. The last 3, 27, 12, and 5 on 28% usage for Avdija, 2 with Portland, 1 with the Wizards.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, I'm still with Deni. Like he does score a ton of points without Jrue Holiday. That was actually the most notable thing for me. The points are getting high though, like 25.5 or so. And yeah, this is going to be a high scoring game. So if you want to stick to the RA, I have no problems with it. It's just It is 30 points per 36 minutes without Drew Holiday on the floor this season. It's about a 70-minute sample size, so getting more legitimacy by the day. But yeah, it's still the RA, something that he's got the ball in his hands, man. And we keep talking about, who else is passing this ball? So we took Vince Will Jr. yesterday on the Memphis Grizzlies. You look around and you're like, sorry, who's the point guard on this team? Oh, it's Vince Williams Jr. And he ends with 8 assists. Same with Deni Avdija tonight, where it's this is the point guard, despite being 6'9" or 10 or whatever he is. So speaking of big guys, Kalkbrenner. Don't laugh, but just by the picture here, this boy can do work down low. Over 7.5, not the most intimidating guy in terms of his profile, but 7.5 boards. If he's getting the minutes and he does not have a questionable tag, he's been in and out of the lineup in the last 2 weeks because it seemed mostly personal reasons. There was really no injury for Kalkbrenner, and when he's out there starting, they haven't. It's 28 minutes for him, 20 for Musa. So I am going to him in this one because you have to take somebody against the Pacers. This has to be your number one happiest team to play against. The opponent is always happy when they see the Pacers right now, especially the bigs, because this team cannot get a rebound. They can't stop you from getting a rebound on the offensive, on their defensive end for your offensive rebounds. And they certainly aren't crashing the offensive boards because Isaiah Jackson, their best rebounder, and maybe only really good rebounder at this point, is just not getting minutes. He's not a starter. He's a starter who doesn't get starter minutes. He gets 20 to 21. Really, there's really no ceiling much higher than that. So I don't have any problem with him going up against Jay Huff and those guys. And again, at 28 minutes, he's averaging 15 rebound chances per game when he gets 28. He just hasn't averaged 28 very consistently this season. It's been a few minutes less than that, but they're starting to bring him on when he's clearly now just back in the fold. I like the fact that some of his other props are raising in a way, the points are a little bit higher than I would have expected because of the fact that people know he's starting to, if he's available, he's playing minutes. And this is going to start to be the case for Coach Lee, that he said he wants Kalkbrenner out there, and he also obviously wants Knipple out there. This is just such an awesome matchup for Kalkbrenner for the Rook.
Yeah, Hornets centers. That's your specialty this week. I mean, we're off Diabate. We're now on to Kalkbrenner, who's back in the lineup. And look, man, I was on the same page thinking Miles Bridges getting the second best rebounder here for Charlotte, also getting some work done in the paint and probably on some corner threes. I mean, the Pacers defense has been very vulnerable in that regard, but no Trey Mann tonight should help with his usage. Price is a little deflated because he just played Toronto and OKC and went under this number. Previous three against the Bucks twice, against the Lakers, 29, 7, and 4 on 28% usage. Granted, there was an overtime game in there that went wild, but still, I mean, this is another very good matchup. As you mentioned, in the last 7, the Pacers are allowing the most free throws, the worst percentage at the rim, 76%, and third worst field goal percentage overall, the most paint points, the third most fast break points, and the fifth most points to small forwards. And now you get Benny Matz in there for 25 minutes, I guess, on the minutes limit, just gunning. He had a 40% usage rate in 25 minutes, not being asked to play defense. Andrew Nembhard going to be trying to stick on LaMelo, right? Also carrying a huge load on offense, not being asked to do much defensively. No Nesmith here is the key. No Obi Toppin as well. Just they lack the athleticism on the wing that has made the Pacers in the last few years, and they're just so shorthanded right now. I mean, Miles, it's a huge sample size because he's only played 16 with Brandon Miller, but 21 points per game on 29% usage since the start of last season. That's the status quo. Of course, no Brandon Miller here. And he's just kind of an underrated rebounder. And so all the stuff you mentioned about the boards, I could definitely see him getting a double-double here where he does get to 10 boards.
Yeah, no question. I see that always when we get him against weak teams down low. He definitely does try to play some bully stuff and get some boards, especially when LaMelo is out there. He actually has boarded pretty well with LaMelo, who's not necessarily boarding as well. He has some good games early, but he's still on that minutes limit. So you can definitely rely on Miles being out there a lot without LaMelo Ball, which is always good for his props. So Reed Sheppard still at 11.5. Great. I'll take it. We still don't have Tari Eason. That's a huge part of this cap, is just that this is the first dude off the bench. Maybe second if Steven Adams doesn't start and Jabari starts, and maybe you want a few more bigs for them in this matchup against Cleveland, who, again, I just think they're frauds, man. I mean, when you look at it's really what it comes down to is all you have to do is go to Cleveland and go, all right, let me put their starting lineup up against the other starting lineup. You look at a lineup like the ones that the Rockets have, and you go, so who's guarding Amon? Where are your wing defenders? This is a league full of wing defenders, and we're praising a team that has none, zero Zilch. Like Max Strus was their wing stopper last year. Now I guess it's kind of DeAndre Hunter. LaMelo Ball, I think, is better than any of those guys, and he's 6'3" or 4. Like, come on, man. I just don't get it with this team. And so I'll take the team that has all the wings, and this is the only dude who's not that guy. This is the guy who shoots, and Cleveland is second worst. They might actually be worse now, limiting spot up points because they do overpressure the ball with Kenny Atkinson. This is not the guy who's getting the touches. This is the guy who's getting the second touch where he's open from three. And like you see Ime and his teammates on the court, like in the middle of a game being like, shoot the ball. I don't care if it hits the back of the backboard. Shoot the ball. We need the threat. It's like throwing deep in the NFL. We just need to take the cover off the defense, man, so we could do other stuff too. That's what you're here for. The make isn't the biggest part of this, but he's played super under control, has not been firing like poor shots at this point. So yeah, he should be up at about like 13.5 points, especially without Tari Eason out there. We have no Jabari Smith. We're looking at like solid 30 minutes for Reed.
Yeah, I mean, we've been taking him mostly in blowouts. Now it's time to graduate, right, to a close game, and I think he might be ready for that spotlight the way he's been playing in some softer matchups. He's also had Fred VanVleet just like in his ear as his personal coach, right? It's like a position group coach where he's just like, look, this is what I would be doing in this situation. This is what you should be doing, and the Rockets are probably hoping that he can eventually do the best Fred VanVleet imitation, at least offensively, down the stretch later this season. So they are trying to work him into that role.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like the comparison. I mean, he's going to be a little bit different player, but yeah, he's pulling those things. So I like what we're seeing from Reed. But that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. We'll be back with everything you need for Thursday as always. So until we see you next, happy betting.